This is Startup Biz Coach Radio, formerly known as Mornings with Terry, and we're empowering entrepreneurs right from the start. Find us at thestartupbizcoach.com every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern with your host, Terry Clay. Are you ready to get this business started?
Hey, this is Terry Clay, and I am back with another episode of the Startup Biz Coach Radio.
Hey, this is Terry Clay, and I am back with another episode of the Startup Biz Coach Radio. Yeah. So we are back with another episode of the Startup Biz Coach Radio. I am so excited to be back on the call yet another day. We do this call every single day, Monday through Friday, live from the blog, thestartupbizcoach.com. And if you head over there every single day, Monday through Friday, you will see interviews by successful entrepreneurs and how they can help you with your business entrepreneurial needs, all right? So we have guests every Monday through Thursday, and then on Fridays I do the call, the host, Terry Clay, the Startup Biz Coach Radio. I do my own topic. So as we do on the Startup Biz Coach Radio, we allow the guests to introduce themselves. So Sharon, will you please introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Excellent. Yes, my name is Sharon J, and after a career of working with performers and actors who are on film and television, I now work with entrepreneurs who want to grow their business from the stage. And I help them learn how to drop the fear of connecting to an audience so they can resonate with the people they're supposed to work with. I've had clients on Dancing with the Stars, True Blood. I've worked with people on the LA Philharmonic and many more. I've also coached sales teams and done a Mastering the Job interview corporate training for people in a leadership program who want to excel within their corporation. And I'm just really excited to be here with you today, Terry.
Wow, thanks. So tell us a little bit about, I'm reading here, you're talking about your topic, about public speaking is one of the number one fears for people. So tell us a little bit tell us a little bit about fear. I had another guest on the call, and she was very, very, very confident, and I asked her about feeling the fear, and she said, I'm afraid, but I just feel the fear and do it anyway. So tell us a little bit of how you help people with fear and how I guess you can help us with our fears.
Yeah, so my approach is very unique. A lot of people, when they work with someone who wants to begin public speaking, really focus more on the content, and the content is very important. I really help people with how they show up in their bodies and their voices. 97% of how people perceive you is through your body language and through your vocal tone. So the modality that I work with is called the Alexander Technique. I'm a certified Alexander Technique teacher. And with this technique, I help new speakers gain a very heightened awareness of their body language, their breathing, and then I teach them how to shed the tension of fear and anxiety in the body that makes it difficult to breathe, makes it difficult to make eye contact with other people. And through shedding that armor of fear in their body, they feel grounded, they feel open, they feel connected to the people that they're speaking to.
I mean, how do you know? How does a person? Excuse me. Okay, say they're looking at themselves, and what symptoms would they say to need a service like yours? What would they be experiencing at this point?
Well, they might feel like, they want to grow their business. Maybe they're a coach, maybe they're starting, a new business that they have to really reach out to large groups of people, and they'll say, I just can't even imagine being up on a stage talking to people. So I've worked with people at that point. I had one client a couple years ago who just walking across the room was painful and difficult for her because if people looked at her, she felt so self-conscious. And then I've also worked with other people who have started public speaking, and they know they want to do it, but they're not really connecting with the people that they're speaking with on stage. Maybe they get tongue-tied. Maybe they feel like, they had a really great talk planned, and then when they get up on stage, they sort of forget what they're supposed to say because they're more worried about what the audience is thinking about them.
Wow. Yeah, so I know that I have a lot of people on this call that want to be public speakers. I want to be paid speakers. And yeah, so for me, speaking is it's almost like a natural for me, and I don't have that problem. But I do know that there are people that sometimes they're like a nervous wreck. They're sweating, their arms, just to get up on stage and speak. So that's nervous. Yeah. Yeah,
that can be such a painful experience for people.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I think new speakers assume that you're either good at it or you're bad at it. And that if you're not good at it right away, you're just never going to be good at it. But like my client who couldn't walk across the room, she is now speaking to groups. She's far more like vocal in sharing her opinions. She's not intimidated by other people's opinions, and she'll like tell you how she feels now very openly. So it's something that is trainable. So if someone's on the call right now and they're listening to this interview and they're like, oh, my gosh, I can't even imagine getting on stage.
Right,
Totally trainable. You can change that.
Yeah, I've heard many people say there's no way I could do what you do. So that is awesome that there is a way that, that it can happen. There's a way that they can beat that. So I love what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there's, a lot of people, it's frightening to develop new skills. We want to be good at things right away, especially in our digital age where everything is so fast. And a part of my work that's so important is to actually slow down, really experience your body, really feel your body breathing, and hear your voice when you talk. You'll hear people say, like, that went by so quickly, I can't even remember what I said.
Right.
And training and slowing down and really being present to your own body, your own feelings, and there's always those little voices that say, oh, say this. And the editor says, oh, no, that's too dangerous, don't say that. Well, I help people really speak authentically and really share their truth so they can be vulnerable with their audience so they can really connect.
Yeah, that's good. So when someone is starting out in the business, what are some of the mistakes the entrepreneurs make when beginning their speaking business?
The number one mistake is trying to be perfect. That is the number one mistake. Like, people will not get up on stage because they're like, my talk isn't perfect yet. But that is time ticking away, time that you're losing to connect with potential customers and partners. And it's not like you get up on stage, even if you practiced alone, and then you get up on stage, it's totally different. So the number one mistake is waiting until you're perfect. Now, I say it's going to be messy. It's going to be clunky sometimes, and it's totally worth it. If someone's going to have a really big, successful business, but that's just the way life is. There are some fumbles here and there. And learning how to roll with them and get back up, dust yourself off, and, like, move on to the next speaking gig, oh, my gosh, that will make you so resilient as a speaker and an entrepreneur as well.
And, I started out my business before I started with the Startup Biz Coach radio. I was just speaking only. And I started off at Toastmasters. And one of the reasons that I quit going to Toastmasters is I saw people that were there, and I would say 10 years, 7 years, 20 years, and they were still doing Toastmasters, perfecting. I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be the best I can be, and then and I still got better as a speaker just trying. So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think we're moving out of an age where there's more, let's say, masculine structured speaking, where it's more heady and more intellectual, and we're moving into an era because there's so much noise. We are bombarded by emails, social media. There's so much to listen to, see, that the only people who are truly going to be successful are those who are speaking their truth. They're acknowledging the messiness of life. And, you know, we're moving into a feminine age, I believe, where it's more about what we're feeling and what our true stories are, and being able to communicate our stories instead of focusing on, well, what do I need to say so they like me?
Right.
When we focus on what's our truth, the people that want to be around us and work with us are just magnetized towards us.
Yeah, I like how you said that they are acknowledging the messiness of life. I think that when people who like laugh at other people or talk about other people, they don't really realize that everybody's going to have some kind of mess, and they're just using that mess to be mean to somebody. But I think when you're an entrepreneur and you see that there's going to be something that's going to happen, and when they acknowledge that, that's going to help them, I think, in the long run. And that's going to lead me to one other question. We usually talk about failures and successes, and so I wanted to ask you, how did you handle your failures in your business, and how did you turn those failures into success?
Yeah, I have been in business for myself for over 11 years, and you know, I offer a lot of workshops. I've had clients who started to work with me and then all of a sudden decided that they didn't want to work with me anymore. And I'm actually a very sensitive person, so I really do feel, you know, upset and sad when things go wrong in my business. And, you know, I give myself time to experience those feelings. I don't try to pretend like they're not there. I'm also very strict about my self-care. I exercise, I eat really well, I have people that I can talk to and that I trust, and I make sure that I have fun as well, so that when I come back to my business, I'm refreshed, I'm energized, and I'm always looking at, okay, what do I love about what I do? And when I see a client who's gone from sort of being shut down and cut off from themselves, and then they start to blossom, and they're connecting to their audience members, and they're saying, Sharon, I just had this big talk, and everyone loved it. Like, I focus on that, and that excitement for my clients, that keeps me going.
Wow, that's good.
That gives me energy.
Another thing I'm going to ask you about speaking and having a speaking business, or how an entrepreneur can grow. How can they get in their own way when growing their business through speaking? How can an entrepreneur do that?
Yeah, I think, you know, we get in our way when we focus too much on what we think is what we're supposed to say. When people get too caught up in their head or too caught up in their plan. I worked with people who had talks memorized, and it just sounded like they were sort of, you know, rotely repeating what they had memorized, and there's no feeling, no truth in what they're saying. They're speaking words that they've read on a paper, but they're not looking at their audience members. They're not feeling. So if they tell a story about a failure that they've been through, but it's memorized, and they're not letting themselves feel the feeling of that story, and they're not looking into their audience members' eyes, there's going to be no resonance. There's going to be no connection there. So really, I just encourage all your listeners to focus on letting them feel the feelings of their stories, letting them really look into the eyes of their audience members. What I like to tell my clients is that your audience members will tell you what to say when you look at their eyes. But when you plan it ahead of time, there's just no meat in your talk.
Right. So I think I'm hearing you say to be authentic. Because I know that when I started speaking, I could just memorize a speech and you're just kind of getting it out there. But when you let yourself, be authentic and be yourself, I think that helps you connect better with the audience. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's a lot, in the social media where a lot of people are saying be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
But that be authentic is in the moment, where you spoke to someone before you talked and they told them about a challenge they're going through, and you've had a similar challenge, and then spontaneously you share your personal story. I share my story of, I've just got engaged and I moved down. I moved out of my hometown, and I'm struggling meeting people where I'm at, and I tell that story when I speak to people, and then they come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I've been through the same thing. But I didn't plan on telling people that story.
Oh, okay, I got you. Mm-hmm.
So that kind of authenticity, like following those instincts, that little voice inside of you that's like, share the story now. That's the kind of authenticity, the vulnerability that really has audience connect with you.
Wow, I like that. A lot of times we ask the entrepreneurs to come on this call, what books are they reading, and how those books are affecting their life. So what books are you reading?
So I am reading a book that is it's interesting. It's called The Book of Love and Creation, and the author is Paul Selig, and it's actually a channeled text. So this author didn't write it. He is channeling, these, we say they're like high vibrational beings. And I think what I'm getting out of it is really coming back to, what energy am I in? Am I in fear? Or am I in love? Am I forgiving myself for mistakes? Am I forgiving others? And I wouldn't say it's a religious book at all. It really is about what sort of vibration am I in. And I personally have felt myself with all the big changes of 2014 for me. I've dealt with a lot of fear of change and wanting to be in control. And this book has really helped me check in with myself. So I say, what energy am I in? Okay, I'm going to shift towards love. I'm going to remind myself that I'm an expression of the divine, and I'm here to be of service to others.
Wow.
That's what this book gives me.
Good. That's good stuff. So our last and final question I'll ask right after this moment from our sponsors.
Have you ever wanted to be a published author? Or how about, would you like to travel the world to get paid to speak and tell others of your story and how others could get over? Would you like to be an Amazon best-selling author? Or maybe you would like to create your own courses and products and get paid for what you know. If that sounds like you, join Terry Clay and Sue Ham at the Business Explosion Mastermind in Florida. It's a private luxury retreat. There, you will have private access to the beach. You will stay in a mansion near the beach. You will be just 2 minutes from Mexico. While there, you will learn all about how to explode your business. If this sounds like you, go to businessexplosion.net. We cannot wait to see you there.
All right, so I want to thank our sponsors. We appreciate you. Thanks for, just being there for us at the Startup Biz Coach Radio. So this is a question that we ask all our guests that stop by the Startup Biz Coach Radio. And we are empowering entrepreneurs right from the very start, from the beginning. So what way can you empower or help an entrepreneur right from the very start?
I would say right now, if someone's starting up their business, to start to look for opportunities to share your message. Even if it's going to a meetup for entrepreneurs, just start looking for small opportunities. Even if you have 2 minutes to talk about your business, start practicing sharing your message and sharing your stories and your truth, no matter how small the opportunity is. Because you need practice to get good at it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, so give them your contact information and how they can get in touch with you.
Certainly. So my main website, it's based on the modality I teach. It's alexandertechniquela.com. And if you want to get a hold of me through email, you can email me at info@alexandertechniquela.com.
All right. So, again, thanks for stopping by the Startup Biz Coach Radio. We appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to sow some words of wisdom into the listeners of this call. So we appreciate you.
Thank you, Terry. It's really been a great opportunity to speak to you and share my story with your listeners.
Yeah, so we appreciate it. So thanks again. And this has been a word from Terry Clay and Sharon, and we are changing lives with positive words, and we are out. Peace.
All right.
This has been Startup Biz Coach Radio, formerly known as Mornings with Terry, and we're empowering entrepreneurs right from the start. Find us at thestartupbizcoach.com every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern with your host, Terry Clay. Thanks for listening.